When it comes to equipment, you want to have the right gear. If your hand doesn't come out of the ball right, well, it can lead to some issues. In addition to fit, ball choices can also affect your score. Advanced equipment is part of the game, and understanding it can be a key to increasing your average.
One of the most frequent questions I get is, Chris, what's the right ball for me? And the answer is, it could be just about any one of them on a given condition and lane surface. So what we're going to do in this section is we're going to give you the tools to make that decision yourself by going through the ball types, ball motion, surface management, and some lesser known factors that can all contribute into that, what is the right equipment for me? When throwing a ball down the lane, it goes through 3 distinct phases: skid, hook, and roll. Now, while we've all seen them do this, we may not have thought about it in quite this way. In the first 20 feet or so, the ball will skid. Now, as it gets down here past the arrows, it goes into the hook phase, along where your break point is. And then past this last rangefinders, now you want the ball to go into a roll, so it has the least amount of deflection. Understanding your ball motion is a key component to being able to understand your equipment.
As a Team USA head coach, we get contacted quite often about what is the magic bowling ball, what is the secret of equipment. To understand equipment in bowling balls, you need to understand ball motion and the phases that a bowling ball goes through down the lane to the pins. We have 3 phases. The first phase is called the skid phase. This is when the ball is coming off the bowler's hand. It's on the front part of the lane, and it's generally about to the first 15 to 20 feet maximum going down the lane. This is when the ball is at its fastest speed and has its most axis rotation. The next phase is the hook phase. The hook phase generally starts about 20, 22 feet and continues down. We want to see it somewhere down, especially on tournament play, somewhere down in the 40, 45 foot range. After that, we have the roll phase. The roll phase is when the ball is going in a straight linear line and it's rolling end over end. It's lost all its axis rotation and it actually is traveling at the slowest speed. What we see a lot of times is the skid phase ends up being about 30 to 40 feet. The ball starts in its hook phase at about 45 feet or so. The ball never gets into the roll phase. The majority of the time when you're leaving those corner pins is because the ball's still in the hook phase and not into the roll phase as it goes into the pins. This pertains a lot to what ball you're going to select and the surface on that bowling ball for your equipment to be able to match up to the lane conditions.
Ball manufacturers are always looking for a better way to create a product to help your game. But much like you would need to know the difference between a sports car and a pickup, there are so many different options today between plastic, resin, dough balls, shiny balls, RGs, differentials. There's a vast array of options out there. Rod's going to help you determine which ball type is best for you.
Now that we understand the phases of ball motion, let's get into the equipment and selection and matching up for you. In front of me I have 3 high-performance bowling balls from different manufacturers. As you can see, I have a dull one here on my left, kind of a medium finish on one in the center, and a highly polished one on the right. These 3 balls will give me distinct different motions going down the lane. Remember, we talked about that first phase, but it was skid. This one will give me least skid. This one will give me the maximum skid. So if you're a player that is on the slower speed, you probably want to be looking at a ball that's a little shinier so you can get the ball down the lane. On the other end, if you're a player with very high speed or high RPMs, you probably want to get a ball that's going to get into a roll a little bit sooner. The key is getting the ball to match up to you. Even though these balls come this way from the manufacturer off the shelf, we recommend that you fine-tune them to match up to your game. You can change the surface on these balls. We can take this bowling ball down and make it similar to this one, or even almost all the way down to here. On the same end, we can take this ball and shine it up. So you can fine-tune these balls after you purchase them to match up to your game. Just because they came that way from the manufacturer does not mean they're the best for you. Bowling ball cores or bowling ball dynamics. The engine or the inside of the bowling ball has a lot to do with the motion the ball is going to be doing down the lane. Please remember, the surface of that bowling ball dictates the distance that you're going to be doing the skid and controlling when the ball grabs. The core is going to dictate the motion it does when it starts to change direction. On my left here I have what's called an asymmetrical. An asymmetrical is the ball core is not exactly the same all the way around. Think of it as a mug with a handle on the side. It's not going to be the same. On my right, I have a symmetrical. It is going to be just like that Coke bottle or that Pepsi bottle. It's going to be exactly the same all the way around. These two will kind of give you slightly different motions. Inside here in the middle, I have two cores. I have a very large core and I have a small core. The small core creates what we call a lower RG. It's going to be more center heavy. To my right here, I have a large core. The weight's going to be closer to the outside of the shell. How that relates to bowling is that if you took an ice skater, and an ice skater has their arms out, they're spinning slightly slow. As they pull their arms in, they start spinning faster. This would be the ice skater if their arms out. This would be the ice skater when they pull their arms in. The key is matching it up to your style and your game. Your local pro shop operator can help you make the proper choices.
The easiest part of a bowling ball to manipulate is the surface. It's the only part that touches the lane. With a few Abralon pads, a little bit of polish, and a towel, you two can either make your break point sooner or later fairly easily. Coach Rod Ross and Earl the Robot will show you and demonstrate how to make your old ball do new tricks.
Adjusting the surface on the bowling ball is done by utilizing sanding pads manufactured by several different companies that you can use in your bowling ball. They come in a wide range of grits from like 360 even down to 180 up to 4,000. The difference is the higher the number, the larger the number, the finer the grit, the smoother it's going to be. The lower the number, the 180s, the 360, the rougher it's going to be, the more it's going to make the ball want to read early or pick up early. It's going to make it rougher. It's easy to adjust the surface on your bowling ball. If you just take one of your pads and just slightly adjust the surface, you can see right off now it is substantially duller. That is going to make the ball act like the lanes are drier. It's going to actually make the ball read earlier. It's going to make the hook face start sooner. The ball is actually going to be smoother as it goes down the lane. Let's take a look at Earl, our robot, and show you some of the differences of different surfaces with the same ball going down the lane.
Of course, the bowling ball is the most obvious piece of the equipment puzzle, but there are many other smaller things that can contribute to your success. Carolyn will be in the Pro Shop showing you many of the ways that the pros and amateurs alike can prepare to be their best on the lanes.
Welcome to the Pro Shop. The Pro Shop is located inside your bowling center. You've spent a lot of money on your equipment. Let me give you some hints as to how you can maintain that equipment. It's kind of like having a car. You have your car, you need to get the oil changed so that you can maintain your vehicle for as long as you want. Same thing with bowling equipment. When you get to the Pro Shop, ask your operator what you can do to get the oil off your ball and get the surface back to as clean as possible. They have a lot of cleaners out there that will be available to you. One of them is a wipe. You just take it out of the bag, and as you're wiping the surface of the bowling ball, you'll see it'll look wet. It will dry really quickly, and you will notice that that oil line on the ball will be gone. How often should you do this? Well, I suggest you do it every time you bowl. If you can't, if you bowl once, twice, 3 times a week, at the end of every week, clean your equipment, and that will maintain it for a long time. Why clean our ball? Why maintain it? You know why? When that oil gets on this bowling ball, it continues to soak into the bowling ball. Guess what happens? The ball stops hooking. And as you know, you don't want your ball to stop hooking. Seek your local Pro Shop out. They will have the answer. What we used to do in the old days is sand the ball way down to a 180 grit and then bring it all the way back. And that took the oil off the surface. But with today's bowling balls, things have changed. Your Pro Shop operator will help you decide what is best for the equipment that you have. Something you can do on your own is use a spray cleaner that is available in the Pro Shop or a microfiber towel. Just by wiping off the surface of that ball, it will take the surface oil off, but will not take that oil that has soaked into the ball out. If you're just getting ready to purchase your brand new bowling ball, make sure you go to your Pro Shop operator and have them fit you properly. You don't want to just go anywhere to get your bowling ball drilled. If it has been suggested to you to use a wrist device, and there are many wrist devices out there on the market, this is going to help you hook the ball a little bit more and keep your wrist firm. Please make sure that that Pro Shop operator measures you and fits you with the wrist device on. It will then fit you properly. If you're going to spend all this money on your equipment, I want you to have everything necessary to perform to the best of your ability. The biggest problem I see when I travel the country is bowling shoes. The house shoes or lower performance shoes have the same sole and heel. It does not allow you to grip to the approach and get a good slide into the foul line to create leverage. I suggest a higher performance shoe. Each shoe is going to do something different. One shoe is going to have rubber on it. You will be able to create a great power step with this shoe. It will then allow you to slide into the line, create really good leverage to execute your shot. No matter whether I'm bowling league, going to a tournament, especially the Open Championship, you will never see me without my accessory bag. And my accessory bag has everything in it that I will need to perform to the highest level. I always bring my thumb tape, which I use on top of my thumb so that I don't cut. And because my skin is dry, it covers my skin so it doesn't get raw. Glue to glue in my grips. I'm always changing my grips, so I always have a bottle of glue with me. Bowling tape. I go through thousands of pieces of bowling tape. This helps me create the feel I need with my bowling ball so that I can throw it the same every shot. Extra soles and heels for my shoes. I never know what surface or approach I'm going to be bowling on, so I need to be prepared with my bowling shoes. And lastly, always have a pair of scissors. This will help you insert the bowler's tape into your thumb and also help you insert your grips.